The government has just U-turned on its decision to cut the top rate of income tax. The Chancellor says he's listened, that he gets it. Are we to understand that the government wasn't listening, that it didn't get it for 10 days?
Well, look, I think there's a clear economic rationale for removing the top rate to do with international competitiveness and making sure this is a jurisdiction, a country people want to locate in. But obviously there has been an adverse reaction from the public and from members of Parliament, and we have listened to that. This is a listening government that is responsive, and we decided this became a distraction from the wider package of growth measures that, of course, see taxes reduced for 30 million working people by an average of £430 each. So we're going to concentrate on those 95% of measures that command widespread support and not let this one thing that was a relatively small part, less than 5% of the total measures by fiscal value. We're going to put that to one side so it's not a distraction and concentrate with on the other 95%.
Of course, and you want to take credit for the other measures in your package. But the Chancellor said it was the Prime Minister's decision to U-turn on the top rate. But other MPs are saying it was your idea to cut the top rate in the first place. Are they correct?
Well, decisions on taxation are made ultimately by the Chancellor and, of course, the Prime Minister and other ministers. Ideas get discussed by a huge number of people. What I think is important is this growth plan taken as a whole will see taxes reduced for everybody in the United Kingdom, rich and poor alike. They'll see infrastructure projects getting sped up. They'll see energy projects getting sped up, so we're not dependent on importing electricity anymore. We're going to see business regulations being reduced. These are measures that have been widely welcomed by businesses, large and small, the British Chambers of Commerce, the Federation of Small Businesses, the CBI, all of whom can see these measures will help their members, British businesses, grow and create more jobs. And that growth will ultimately see higher wages being created, better jobs being created, and also, of course, pay taxes sustainably that will fund our public services into the future.
OK, but to pay for all that, to have any hope of restoring your party's reputation for fiscal credibility, you're going to have to make deep spending cuts. Our analysis at Bloomberg Economics suggests you're going to have to make cuts deeper than when George Osborne was the Chancellor under austerity. But in July, the Prime Minister said, and I'm quoting, "I'm very clear I'm not planning public spending reductions." This is going to be another major U-turn, isn't it?
Well, we've been clear that we are going to be actually sticking to the existing spending envelope. That's the spending review that was set out about a year ago, covering 3 financial years. We're currently in the first of those 3 financial years. We are going to be sticking to those spending plans.
But we've had double-digit inflation since a year ago, so that's a real-term spending cut, isn't it?
Well, it's not actually, because first of all, the old spending plans or the current spending plans, even on the old inflation figures, entailed fairly significant real terms increases. Secondly, the inflation which the public sector experiences is significantly lower than the general inflation figure. So the public sector inflation figure is a lot lower than the 10%, roughly 10% we see across the whole economy. And actually, even sticking to these spending plans, and even with the higher public sector inflation, across that 3-year period, there will still be real terms growth. We are going to need to find efficiencies in order to stick within those targets. We're going to do that. And besides enabling us to stick within those existing spending limits, we're also going to make sure we're prioritising public spending on frontline services, as you'd expect, and also particular projects like expediting road construction that will really help growth.